Graduations, and I'm reminded when I graduated, I watched all the family stand up and cheer for their loved one. When I graduated, the faculty stood up and cheered that I was graduating. So my name is Rocky Holcomb, and I'm the Sheriff of Virginia Beach. I'm the 7th Sheriff of Virginia Beach, and I'm the first sheriff ever that started in the organization. I started there as a deputy recruit. Started in 1991, right out of the Marine Corps, and I've been in uniform since I was 18 years old. And I'll tell you a story. I went away to college right after high school. I went to Chowan College, which is in Murfreesboro, North Carolina. So I went to Chowan College, and I came home that first semester at Christmas time, and I came home and my grades were terrible. And so my dad, he was standing there with my grades, and he said, "Son," he said, "you're not going back to college." He said, I'm not going to pay this money for you to go up there and make these kind of grades. And so I said, "Well, Dad, I'm sorry I've disappointed you." And he said, "Well, I don't want to disappoint you." So he said, "I'm going to give you 5 options." So I'm an 18-year-old kid with 5 options. I said, "Dad, give me my options." He said, "Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or Coast Guard." And I quickly went to the Marine Corps and served in the Marine Corps and started at the Sheriff's Office. So I have certainly been in uniform a long time, and I enjoy every minute of it. And a quick story about Rocky. Everybody asks about my name, Rocky, and they think, did you get it in a bar fight? Did you get it in a frat house? Well, let me tell you about my name, Rocky. I was born in June 29, 1968 in Southwest Virginia. And Southwest Virginia in a town called Bluefield. It's a border town. It's half of it's in West Virginia, half of it's in Virginia. And I was born in the Bluefield Sanitarium. And I was born to a Methodist minister and a home care nurse. And when I was born in this Bluefield Sanitarium, I had a collapsed right lung. And so you can imagine in this small coal mining town hospital, not much in the way of resources and not very progressive in the way they're going to deal with medical problems. So they put a tube into my right lung and put me inside of an incubator, and they told the family, they said, "It's not good for this young man. Gather the family and be ready for what might happen." And so as the story goes, my grandmother, she would tell me this story over and over again, and my grandmother, rest her soul, she would say that everybody came to the hospital and they prayed and they prayed and they prayed. And so after about 3 or 4 days, the doctor said, "Well, he's not getting any better, he's not getting any worse." And as the story goes, my grandmother, she would tell me this, rest her soul, she said that they took me out of the incubator and they handed me to my dad. And my dad said, "This is my son, and he's had a rocky way to go." And as they passed me around that room, everybody said, "Let me hold little Rocky. Let me hold little Rocky." So I've had that name since birth. So it just so happened I turned out to be a 6'2", 250-pound deputy sheriff. I don't think they planned on it. So in that same vein, as my grandmother would tell me this story, she would say to me all the time, she would say, "Rocky, you got your blessing. You've had your blessing. You got your blessing June 29, 1968, when you were saved from what you had with a collapsed lung." And she said, every day moving forward, pay it forward, pay it forward, pay it forward. And that's what's driven Rocky all along, to be in the General Assembly, to serve as a deputy sheriff, to be in the Marine Corps, to serve on city council. That's what's driven Rocky every day, and it continues to drive me. And I can always think, when the time gets tough, I can think about my grandmother saying, "I got my blessing." And so that's a little something about Rocky that I like to share. So real quick, we're going to go into a PowerPoint here, but let me tell you this. Many years ago, I went to a leadership seminar, and the individual teaching the seminar, he said, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you. So that's what I've done here. I've brought some of my folks here that are way smarter than me. I've got Captain Karen Johnson. She's in charge of our VBS Cadet. Karen's got 21 years. I got Chief Deputy Alvy Kulandi. Alvy's got what? Who's got Alvy? 27 years. Captain Nick Curtis. And Nick's got about 18 years. He's our SWAT team commander with the Sheriff's Office. And so we usually bring a few more people with us, but tonight we were spread a little thin. So, but I always travel with some folks that are smarter than I am, and they know they can step up and correct me when my figures are wrong or my facts are wrong, and they will do that. So we'll get started with this PowerPoint, and this is something that we do, and you can read along. And I don't want to be deaf by PowerPoint, because when I was on council with John Moss and a PowerPoint came up, he was like, "Oh, yeah. He doesn't like PowerPoint, so I won't do death by PowerPoint." But as you go along, you'll see some of the things we have right here. Our main priority at the Sheriff's Office, our main responsibility is correctional operations. We have to make sure that we maintain the correctional center. And you can see the correctional center from here. We have 3 buildings, and to date there's about 1,028 prisoners in it today in our building. And as you go down right next to the courthouse, folks don't believe it, but we have that many prisoners in there. So 1031. So 1031 today was our number. Female housing, we usually run about 10%, but it's getting a little bit higher, 10 to 15% or whatever the population is we have for females. So there we got 142 females. We are the largest mental, I like to say this, I don't know that it's fact checked, but I do think it is. We are the largest mental health facility in the Commonwealth, just by de facto, because the mental health crisis we're facing right now, there's no beds in the psychiatric hospitals. They come to us. We're the last resort, and we get a lot of folks with some serious mental health conditions. So we've really leaned in on the mental health problem at the jail, and we have 1 sergeant and 2 deputies that are assigned exclusively to work on this problem. And we took a housing area that we had and we turned it just into mental health. And we brought the mental health experts from the city and we stationed them in there. So what happens now is when somebody gets out that has been treated for mental health, we let them go with wraparound services. They know where to go, they have 30 days of medication, and so they have a plan when they get out. Because what happens is so many times when these folks fall back, they fall back to drugs and alcohol. And that's their go-to, and it makes it even worse. So that's some of the things we're doing. This is something I'm very proud of. It's called the Road to Hope program. And what we're doing in our correctional facility is we're trying to make sure that we can get these folks integrated, because we understand that 75 to 80% of these folks are coming back to our neighborhoods. They're going to live in our neighborhoods. And we want to make sure that when they come back to our neighborhoods, that they have all the tools they need to be productive citizens, have productive jobs. And so these are some of the things we're doing. We have a GED program, a life empowerment program, reentry program, employment certifications. And let me talk about that a little bit. I run the largest restaurant in Virginia Beach. I serve 3,300 meals every day. And so we recognize that this is a valuable resource that we have. So we partnered with Virginia Department of Health and got a program where if you work in my kitchen for 16 weeks, you will get a certificate that says you're a certified food handler. And this transfers into a job when you go back into the community. It transfers into a job that makes anywhere from $18 to $22 an hour. So just by having that certificate and you go back into the community, you can get a good paying job and make a difference. Another thing many of you might have seen is the folks out cutting grass. We got a lot of prisoners out cutting grass. So what we did is we partnered with Landscape Services, and if you stay on my program for 16 weeks, when you leave, you'll have a certificate that says you're an entry-level landscape certified worker. So you can get out with that and translate that into a job very quickly. So those are some of the things that we're doing to make sure that they have a leg up. Another thing that we're very adamant about is GED. Many folks come and don't have a GED. And so we make sure that we tell folks, get your GED, get your GED, because we can't over-incarcerate our way out of this problem. We have to educate and empower our way out of this problem, and I think that we can do it, and my staff has signed on, and we're doing the very best job we can. Veteran housing, not too many veterans coming in, but there are some veterans that suffer from the mental health problems that we do have. And one of the things we're doing right there with the music program is I'm trying to find the next Johnny Cash or whoever it is in my jail. So I have I've partnered with Z104, and they're coming in, and they're interviewing inmates that can sing. And what we're going to do is, what is it, Karen? Is it in the fall?
Yes.
In the fall, we're going to have a concert where they sing, and we're going to live stream it so their families can watch it. And again, all of these things are very important in building the self-esteem and making sure we make a difference in the community. And so a lot of these folks that come to us have never received any satisfaction in anything they've done. So we're trying to make a difference. And I'll let you know when it live streams so you can check it out. Another primary duty is the courts. We manage the courts. We have the protection of the judges. We have about 22 judges right now that sit on the bench between the 3 courts. And the 3 courts are, the lower courts are juvenile domestic relation, general district, and then the circuit court. Here's a big one. We serve warrants. That's one of our primary duties, is serving warrants throughout the community. And that is 101,000. 101,103 in 2023. That's how many active warrants we serve. So that'll be all types of warrants that you see coming out of the courts. Criminal intelligence unit, we have criminal intelligence units that's proven its worth right now, because as you see the fourth bullet down, 155 inmates classified as gang members. So there are gangs in Virginia Beach, and the gangs are all over. And so what happens is these gang leaders, they have the Fortune 500 model for recruiting. They find these young folks that are looking for attention. They're looking for some satisfaction. They're looking for a little bit of money in their pocket. They're looking for some guidance. And these leaders in the gangs are finding these young kids, and they're doing that, and they're getting new gang members every day. We're seeing new gang members come in every day. The K-9 unit we talked about, first one on the east coast of Virginia. I would say first one probably east of 95 is a fentanyl sniffing dog. We have a dog that can sniff fentanyl, and this fentanyl crisis is real and it's terrible. The 1 gram of fentanyl can kill 500 folks, and they're lacing this with everything. And so what's happening is they're looking for the next hard hit, the next hard hit. So if it's smoking marijuana today and they want to get something else, they'll lace that with fentanyl, and it's a death sentence, and it is a death sentence. And so we had a situation arise in our correctional center last Easter with fentanyl, and so it's certainly a serious problem.
Have you? May I ask?
Yeah.
Have you used Narcan?
Great question, and we follow the same process of EMS. If we come up on the scene and somebody's non-responsive, we go straight to Narcan. If you don't need it, it doesn't hurt, but if you do need it, it can revive you. We had one on this Easter Sunday incident. We hit this individual with 3 rounds of Narcan and 10 rounds of life-saving measures where we were giving compressions and breaths. It ended up sending 3 of my deputy sheriffs had to go to the emergency room, and it became a hazmat scene because of the fentanyl that was in the air.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's tough. Again, our emergency response team, and this is Captain Curtis, he's in charge of this. One of the things we've been doing, we've been very active with, you see the second bullet there, the local churches, and we work with Regent University and partnered with them about active shooters. And we go into churches, and we'll go into any civic league, and we'll analyze for threats. So folks know, where the threats could possibly come from. What could be a weapon? We used to say, run, hide, fight. Now what do we say?
Avoid, deny, defend.
Avoid, deny, defend. That's the new one. Avoid, deny, defend. And we teach those. We teach those tactics to the churches. One that I love the most is at the bottom there, the senior safety seminar. That is so good. I don't know if any of you have been to that we've taught, but we've been doing. I bet you we've done 15 or 20 of those, and we teach just situational awareness, how folks can better defend themselves when you're walking from the grocery store to your car. Cut your cell phone on, call your friend, and they'll know, hey, I'm going to my car. Just little simple things that you think don't make a difference, but do. And then at the end, we start showing folks how to do some slaps and some elbows and some techniques. And we were down at Pungo, about a month ago, and we had a 91-year-old lady. Man, she strapped up and she was ready to go. I would hate to meet her in a dark alley because she was fired up and ready to defend herself. She was something else. Here's a big one we always get. This is huge. Nobody from law enforcement will ever call you and ask you for money. That just won't happen. We do not call and say, hey, you missed your jury duty, send me $500 or meet me somewhere and give me $500 and you won't have a problem. That ain't happening. We ain't doing that. Nobody from law enforcement will do that.
Y'all don't want gift cards?
Yeah, that's another thing they ask for, trade gift cards, yeah. But that you'll never get that. If you get that, hang up. Contact the non-emergency number at 385-5000, and we'll open up a file and get it investigated. And listen, these scammers are getting so crafty. I mean, they're down to the number on how to do this. They've somehow figured out how to get our number from the sheriff's office, and when it comes up on your phone, it says Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office. And so, to the person that's not ready for the scam, they read it and go, oh man, this is serious. So it's a serious issue. So there you go. There's my ugly mug to wrap this up, and there's contact from my office is the contact numbers, and our community engagement captain is Karen Johnson, and I can promise you that the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office stands ready to be a sheriff's office for all citizens. And no matter the issue, we are there to be a helping hand and help guide you through any situations you may have. And it is our honor and pleasure truly to be deputy sheriffs in the city of Virginia Beach, where we have over 460,000 citizens and play host to 13.5 million visitors every year. And it is truly a great city, and I'm proud to be the sheriff of this city and lead these men and women.
Okay, questions, Dan?
We'll go with questions.
So, Sheriff, one thing, and I talked to you about this, when you were on the podcast for John Moss,
Yeah.
I learned so much about, you had that gentleman with you.
Yeah, he was there.
I learned so much about what you were actually giving to the inmates.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing about the certificates.
Yeah.
I think people don't realize that. I mean, what you said was amazing,
Yeah.
how you are rehabilitating
Yeah.
and providing.
Yeah.
So that's not my real question.
Yeah, well, I
The
appreciate
other
that.
comment
I
was,
appreciate that.
it was nice to learn how you got Rocky.
Yeah.
I always wondered that.
Thank you.
But there was an article in the paper, and I know this is the Virginia Beach police chief said this,
Mm-hmm.
and said that there was a significant number of major crimes from the Renaissance Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And I approached the school board about that, and basically I got that 2 of them were people that were murdered or anything like that. But can you, I mean, you know what the Renaissance Academy is. That's
Yeah,
where
yeah,
the children that have issues go.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate more on that? Or if you can't,
Yeah,
it
no,
just seemed very odd.
Yeah, no, and I heard the chief say that, and at the point of arrest and incarceration, we don't really drill down on that. We just take the individual wherever they came from, and my guess is the folks that came from the Renaissance Academy probably went to the Juvenile Detention Center. So we haven't really.
So they had been, they were in a place,
Yeah.
and then the issues happened,
I
right?
can speak to that
Okay.
a little bit, but not particularly that issue. What we do at the Sheriff's Office is we try and get in and mentor on that angle, because once they've committed the crime and they've been sent to that school, it's out of our hands. But what I did personally is I go to Renaissance Academy, and then we start a little program where we just kind of check in on them. So there was this one student who I met at a school event who told me that he was sent to Renaissance because of, you know why they go there, he got into some trouble. But it can turn into a recruiting event, like when the sheriff talked about the gangs at the jail. The kids at Renaissance can sometimes try and recruit the other kids to remain in that situation. And so what we try to do is negate that. We go in and we're like, hey, you don't have to do that. We try to get them to go back to their school. We give them resources, and we even give them our personal numbers to contact us to help them through those situations so that it doesn't turn into what the police chief was talking
That's
about.
what's so eye-opening during the podcast, sir.
Yeah.
That you're just not there to put them in, lock them up.
No.
You're there to help them move on.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that's the most outstanding thing that the 460,000 people we have in our city need to realize.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
And you had
We
the
do.
best captain's uniform I ever seen.
And Teresa has the next question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, mine was on the same sort of line of his, because I know that when they come to you, you're dealing with that.
Yeah.
However, already it's $17,000 a year for a student.
Yeah.
That's meant, so all of these kids that go
Yeah.
there have that right to go through that system, and that money is already spent on them. So then they get in jail, and then there's a whole bunch of money just trying to get them to do. So my
Yeah.
question is, do you approach the school board or anything about the behavior in the school system itself? Because a lot of people feel like it's just a breeding ground to fill the prison.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of, like I did
Yeah.
substitute at the Virginia Beach Academy before, and those kids were very well behaved. They were locked
Yeah.
down with bars on the window, but they had very strict rules.
Yeah.
So we don't have to put bars on the window in the city, but a 3 strikes you're out, or expectation
Yeah.
of higher standards of behavior than what's allowed in
Yeah.
schools. This is terrible.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out there. And I
Okay.
approached City Council this year and tried to get DARE. We did away with DARE in 2015.
Right.
And the DARE program, as it used to be, we all knew the DARE program, just say no to drugs. And it's not that model anymore. It's more about decision making and how to say no to gang members and how to use your reasoning skills. So it's a lot better program. But yes, I think that we want to get deputy sheriffs and law enforcement back into schools so that folks can see us making a difference and being mentors. And so I hope that they can find the funding for it next year. But on that same note, you saw my numbers. I got 1,031 inmates in my jail. And people say, well, Rocky, you're very progressive with these programs and trying to get them out. To keep one inmate in my jail for 24 hours is anywhere between $130 and $150 a day for one inmate. You do the math. You do the math. So I understand the importance of making sure that we get them the help they need so they don't come back to jail, and they're not taking the taxpayers' money. They're taxpayers, and by and large, I think a lot of folks want to have the help to get out there and have a job, and so that's what we're trying to do.
Do you
Okay,
see a metric?
Dick,
Do you
and
see a
then
metric
Toby.
that what you're doing is helping the revisit rate of the?
Our recidivism rate is going down. We don't
Dick,
have exact
and
numbers.
then Toby.
Yeah.
2 questions. Can you talk a little bit more about what you do with the seniors in terms of like the senior safety seminars or anything like that? And the second one, I had taken a couple of the run, hide, fight under MPO David Neves while he was,
R.I.P.
yeah. The avoid, deny, and defend, I haven't seen that. Is
Yeah.
that something that y'all will be doing, or is that something we need to have the,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
the other side, where's that?
We do it, and I'll let Captain Curtis. He teaches it, so I'll let him talk.
So I'll start with the avoid, deny, defend, and then I'll talk to you about the senior safety. The avoid, deny, defend is actually a program that was a combination of the FBI's run, hide, fight program, and then Texas State University is partnered with a group called Alert. And so they got together and they created a program for civilians. It's called CRACE, Civilian Response to Active Shooter Events. And in the CRACE course, they use the words avoid, deny, defend. They mean the same thing: run, hide, fight, avoid the conflict, get away from it if you can, deny them access to you if you can't. Where could you barricade yourself? And then as the last resort, what's around that you could defend yourself with. And so we teach that class, the Sheriff's Office does. And in that course, we also talk about the Stop the Bleed program. It's a federal program. The #1 cause of death in an active shooter event is blood loss, catastrophic blood loss. So we go over makeshift tourniquets, plug-in holes, and things like that. But we do that class. And so I'll give you my card, and we can set up a CRACE class for you.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. And then the other one on the side of that is for seniors and handicapped in terms of that, because that became an issue when they were going run, hide, fight, and I'm sitting here going, I'm gonna have to bust somebody's ass, because there's, I don't have a choice.
So when we teach the class, we go to you. And the reason we do that is because we want to be in your environment. And so people are creatures of habit, right? So if we go to church, you always sit in the same pew, you always sit, next to the same people, that's how we are. We park in the same spot, everything. So if we come to you, we can say, okay, if this is where you always sit, what options do you have available to you right now if someone came in that door? What options do you have available if they came in that door, right? Because we know not everybody's going to be able to run. We know not everybody's going to be able to fight. So not everybody's going to be able to do a tourniquet. Some people in a panic situation are just going to freeze. So what are we going to do with those scenarios? And so we go through all of that in the course. We talk about the buddy system, battle buddy. I know we all know that. Have your battle buddy at church. So, it's we go through all of that. And so, yes, ma'am.
Okay, Toby?
The seniors, the seniors.
Okay, I'll go real
Yeah.
quick. All right, so on the senior part, we go to various groups, libraries, senior centers, stuff like that. And our goal is to give seniors options. I think a lot of times the seniors we encounter feel like they're at a loss, because they're not as fast, they're not as strong as they used to be. And so they feel like it's a no-win situation. And so we dispel that immediately. We go through several things that seniors can do that set them up for success. And the sheriff touched on it. Set up your surroundings. Know where you parked at. Have your keys ready. Be on the phone with somebody. Let people know where they're going. Stay in well-lit areas. If you don't feel right, yell as loud as you can. And we go through different apps on your phone, panic apps that you can install on your phone. And so we do all that in the senior safety seminar. And at the end, yes, we read some really big guys and we dress them up and we let you smack them around, and it's a lot of fun. But we do go over, really it's concept based on what options are available to you so that you're not a victim. You can win any encounter you come in contact with.
Okay, Toby?
Well, it's kind of follow-up on this. Do you have a minimum number of people that you would have at a seminar? Because I belong to Forever Young at Bayside. I handed in your flying to them. I don't know what they're doing, because maybe we combine with another rec center.
We can accommodate whoever, whenever. We've got plenty of instructors, and we can accommodate. We can make it happen. we went to Westminster, Canterbury not long ago and did a class out there. And this is truly a serious issue where the elder folks in the community are being attacked. There was an incident that happened in Kemps River or in Providence Square where an individual was going into food line to buy groceries and his face got bit off. He was attacked and his face got bit off. This was about a month and a half ago. That guy's in my jail. So it's a dangerous situation.
Okay, Larry, then Nina.
Okay. Two questions. One is, I don't know if this is in your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
But one of the things that's going on right now that aggravates me off to little pieces is all these beggars on the streets panhandling.
Yeah.
Every street corner, every 7-Eleven, and every exit off the interstate's got somebody stopping traffic, looking for money.
Yeah.
Is there anything that can be done about that?
The city attorneys have ruled, and it's a First Amendment protected right in the city right away. And when I was on city council, we voted for a pilot program that I think it's in District 7. You'll see some signs that say no panhandling. But let me tell you a story about that. About 6 months ago, we had a panhandler that got arrested. And the panhandler said, I got to get out, I got to get bonded out. And the deputy said, well, why are you in such a hurry to get bonded out other than not being in jail? He said, man, this is a busy weekend. I can make $300 cash this weekend standing on the corner. And so it was a job.
Tax free.
Yeah.
Another thing is, if you've got a card, I'd like you, because I'm part of the security staff for my synagogue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are several of us that are part of that, but we're not trained.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be glad to come out.
So you provide free training.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yep.
Nina, did you have a question? No, you didn't have a question? How about you, sir?
Me, no, but over there. though.
Oh, Robert.
This lady over here first.
I was wondering if there is a certain number of sexual predators that can live in a group home.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that if there is. I don't know. You got one in your neighborhood or something? Yeah. No, I'm not familiar. That'd probably be under the purview of the state police. They manage all the sex offenders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Robert?
One. Oh.
Yeah.
Sheriff, about 35, maybe 40 years ago, I think Joe Smith.
Diane and I weren't born then, so.
But we used to have a program here, City Farm. It was run by the Sheriff's Department. They had inmates and they grew for your jail and your food and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know whatever happened. I think it was over off of Holland Road. Is there any, could it ever come back again when you're talking about your training program?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to it. It's something to look at. It certainly is something to look at. We did a small run at it about 2 years ago where we had a farm off Elbow Road.
Okay.
And we also had another one that we were using in the Correctional Center. We had a farm there, and what we were doing with that was a very small plot. It was maybe less than a half acre, but we used the mental health inmates as therapeutic to come out there. And let me tell you something, that was really a great program. I mean, not only did you get to provide the produce, but it was very therapeutic for those folks suffering from mental illness. But I can circle back and see what we can do.
Vic, you had another question?
How not to be a victim? I know the last training, you had guys there. Are y'all doing that program? Because I'm certified to teach. And they were.
Yeah. Like I said, you reach out to our office, we're doing any type of program. I'm not familiar with that exact one you're talking about, but whatever it is.
How not to be a victim is an NRA program.
Okay, yeah.
It does not mean, it doesn't, it's totally separate, but yes, they is right.
Well, by definition, it
Yes.
is an NRA.
Okay. Teresa?
I think that when most people have someone try to break in their house or try to do something, that they do what they can to get away. So I wonder if there's any statistics on how many people breaking into a home actually get shot and killed, as opposed to somebody who tries to get out and then they get attacked. How many of those victims are injured by not using more force?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a big question. That's some high-level stuff that I don't necessarily have the statistics on. So,
Okay,
but
this lady here has a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You guys keep statistics on traffic accidents because there's a corner close to where I live at that there have been multiple traffic accidents, even a death. And I think that if the city come in and re-highlight the boundaries of a division of one certain road that, you know, if people just could see that road, because a lot of it is about this road, Indian River Road and Farrell Parkway, separates. There's been so many accidents
What corner
right
is it?
there. It's Farrell, where Farrell Parkway and Indian River split off.
Oh, the why.
From the corner from Kempsville Road, right before that, to that split. So many accidents.
There's a,
People crossing.
yeah, the traffic engineer, his name's Rick Lohman with the city and the traffic engineering. And those guys are on top of all that. And I think that area you're talking about was in District 1 when I represented District 1. And I think they had those numbers dialed down. And right there in front of Regent University, coming that way, you'd be coming north that way. I think it's like the third most busy street in Hampton Roads from 1500 to 1730 or something. So it's very busy. And then they've added, and I tell you, one thing I will say that I wasn't a fan of initially, but let me get it right. The
Right turn onto Indian.
Yes,
Yeah.
the two left turns and a U-turn to make a right turn. I actually think folks are starting.
I love that.
I do too.
I drive between my two houses. One house is in District 3, one's there.
I know.
And it has solved so many
It
damn
is.
problems.
I was hearing so many good things about it. But when you talk to the traffic engineer, and I can tell you this, the traffic engineer had told me, this right here is the biggest problem. This is our biggest problem.
Yes.
And here's what he explained to me. If you're sitting at a green light or red light, and you're messing with your phone, and it turns green, and you miss 5 seconds, you miss 5 seconds, 4 cars back misses 20 seconds. So
Yes.
you're only going to get 3 cars through where they should have got 5 cars through.
Right,
So, yeah.
Leslie's next.
Yeah.
But, so I was
Speaking
wondering,
of that-
is there a database to keep track of areas
Yes.
that are high frequency?
Traffic engineer with the city has that.
Yeah.
Because I think what a big problem is you can't see those street markings, like the yellow lines and that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and the lights overhead are dim.
And you can shoot an email to traffic engineering.
Yeah, there's a difference between what the sheriff's department covers and what the police department
Yeah.
covers.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through that at all?
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So who was next? Leslie.
Speaking of that specific intersection, my take is I've lived there for many, many years, and what I think has happened is you've reduced the amount of people at that intersection, because now they're either getting off near Regent University down Centerville, or they're going up to Lynn Haven.
Yeah, or
And
Strickland.
that is what they've done, is they've moved all that traffic to those two different things. And Centerville needs to be widened,
Yeah,
and that needs,
yeah.
that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, you know, it's like and what's happened is you're exactly right. And once the traffic pattern comes, it's like when you throw a glass of water on the floor, it finds its way, and that's what citizens are doing. So you have locals that know, if I go up Strickland Avenue and turn on to Whitehurst Landing, back on to Strickland, I can be back on Indian River, boom, I'm there. And what it's doing is pushing a lot of traffic into the neighborhoods.
It is.
And so we dealt with that on council, yeah.
Okay, now you want to ask a question.
So you had a TV program, people were filming.
Yeah, we had,
What's that, how
it was the number one show on A&E Network for last season, and it was called Book. So we had the camera crew in there, and we're on season 3 now. Season 3 will be coming out, and I'll tell you a funny story. I was out having lunch, and a lady came up to me, and she said, Sheriff, you got a second? I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I got to ask you a question. And I figured, well, what can I help you with? And she said, Season 1, Episode 3, the blonde-headed woman that got arrested, where's she at? I said, man, I have no idea. I couldn't tell you. But she told me, she said, I love that show. And she started naming off all my deputies that work there. And she said, Deputy so-and-so is so good, and so-and-so is so good. So it's we're coming up on the 3rd season of that. Been a good show.
You just made my wife happy, have a new show to go over.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. And on that same note with the filming, I'll tell you this. Last year, with the body cams, we got body cams introduced last year on City Council. Last minute thing we got in after the budget, and thank goodness we got them. And these body cams that we wear, I honestly think that if I told my deputy sheriffs, put your body cams on the table and let's go to work, they wouldn't go to work. They wouldn't work. This piece of equipment has made such a difference in behaviors all around. Citizens, folks that we're interacting with, our deputy sheriffs. It's a great piece of equipment.
You just
and,
got it last year?
We just got it, yeah, last year.
Well, they had to phase it in.
That's
They
right.
had them for the police, the sheriffs.
That's
Yeah,
right.
They had
That's
to phase
exactly
it in.
right.
Sheriffs will last.
So here, that's a good question. So let me tell you this, and I'll take Chief Deputy Kulani. For me to send a deputy sheriff to go to work, just to get ready to go to work, is $10,000 to $12,000. That's not the training, that's not the salary, that's just the equipment he has on. So what happens with the body cam? The body camera is not, the body camera itself is not that expensive, but I tell you what ties up all of the money is the cloud, the server. That time you can buy this for $200, and that's fine. But what it is getting all the information on the cloud with the megabytes or whatever. I don't understand.
So when do you look at what's going on the body cam?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day. Supervisors are required to review at least 3 different body cams every shift, and then if there is a serious incident, then it's reviewed by our professional standards office. Yep.
Gotcha. Larry?
I know as far as the body cam, one of my wife's favorite shows drives me up. It's Cops Revisited.
Yeah.
And it's just the outtakes and excerpts. But my wife sits there and watches it. Why are they being so damn nice to those people? Beat the crap out of them. But you're on camera.
Yeah.
You gotta be nice.
Yeah. Well, even minus that, one thing we've done at the sheriff's office is every one of our deputy sheriffs are trained in what they call crisis intervention training. And so we understand that when you arrive to a situation, you got to have a toolbox full of tools to deal with it. You can't just have a hammer. You got to have pliers. You got to have a wrench. You got to have a screwdriver. So you have to have every one of those tools in your toolbox, and it helps us out dealing with it.
Dan?
So since we're getting into TV shows here, so when you have sheriffs, like I live near Henry Collegiate.
Yeah.
And then when school's out, there's about, I guess, 4 of your deputy sheriffs there.
Yeah, directing traffic. Yeah.
So I assume they're off duty and they're on the payroll of the
Yes,
school.
that's right.
But if an incident happens, I mean, are you guys always on duty? If an incident
Always,
happens
yeah.
right there, traffic or
Always,
whatever,
yeah.
they could do
Yeah,
what they need to do.
anything that falls under the color law. And to that same point, about 6 years ago, we had a female deputy sheriff. She was directing traffic at Catholic High School up here on Princess Anne Road. And she was directing traffic, and a lady turned in, cut the turn too close, hit her, flipped her in the air, and the car was an older car and it had an antenna on it. And when she got flipped in the air, she fell on the antenna. And her vest, her ballistic vest, saved her. The ballistic vest is what saved her. And with Safariland that year, she was like saved number 255 or something like that. So yeah, it's always a danger. Yes, sir.
Is there any way we can start a program where when y'all confiscate guns, you can sell them back to law-abiding citizens for profit?
I don't know. I don't know. You have to talk to the police department. We don't confiscate anything. We don't confiscate anything.
Right, I remember when they were gonna have, like a thing where they turn in guns and everything, and I was like, I can't believe that they just can't turn them in. They have to ask the council's permission. Like if, if your husband dies and he has a bunch of guns and you don't want them, you can't just turn them in. You can go to Chesapeake Port and Gun.
We'll get you in the right location.
Yeah. Anybody else have a question? Here.
On the body cams that you wear there, what causes it to act? They're not on 24/7.
So good question. And so this camera right now is constantly recording.
Oh, wow.
If needed. So right now, let's say that I go up to Miss Howard and she becomes combative, and I start sensing she's combative. I turn my camera on. It's got a 2-minute look back. So it will go back from 2 minutes. So you don't just catch immediately. You got a 2-minute look back.
I learned that on the recruit.
But will it come on automatically for
Wait, if you pull your gun, doesn't it go on then?
So
you get shocked or something, gets hit hard?
There's 4 or 5 things that'll trigger it. It's called a signal sidearm on our holster. So if the pistol comes out, it'll activate all of these cameras. All of them. If the taser, that's right. If you pull a taser out, it'll come on. If a police car or a sheriff's car comes by and turns their lights on, it'll activate it. Yeah.
Wow. It's like
Everybody's or just people in the
In
vicinity?
the vicinity.
Okay, in the
Yeah,
vicinity.
it's
It's gotta be
Bluetooth. It's like
a.
Bluetooth. When your watch doesn't talk to the phone anymore, don't
Right.
communicate.
Yep. So that's
That's where the money is. That's the money.
all that technology.
Yeah.
It's something, yeah.
Bill, and then Leslie.
I'm just amazed by the, I've got one incident in mind. I'm amazed that your officers and the police department's officers can have the patience that they have.
Yeah.
The patience of Job.
Yeah.
I saw this officer backing away from a belligerent man who was half naked, and his hands were going around, and this guy was talking to him and always keeping the feet apart and walking backwards on a median in the middle of a very busy road.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, where does that come from?
Yeah, just training.
I mean, it must be something that you drill into.
Yeah, we do. We train, and listen, again, I say this about my staff of supervisors. They're equipped to lead through all situations, and that makes a huge difference. And so as you see that quality leadership, it just trickles down inside the ranks. And so, yeah, it is tough, but it's a lot of training that goes into it. We have, so currently we have a Deputy Sheriff Academy, which lasts 17 weeks. The Police Department Academy lasts 26 weeks. So Chief Newdigate and I have a relationship that I have 2 deputy sheriffs in that class now. So what I'm going to start doing is getting more folks into that class so we can blend it all together. And eventually, hopefully, my hope is that everybody has the same exact training. And that's what we're working on.
Leslie? Oh, you changed your mind? Do you still do the tours of the jail? I know I went on one when.
Yeah, so what I've been doing as the sheriff, I've been reaching out to all the district reps and having the Civic League members come in. And so about a month ago, I gave a tour on a Saturday. We got through taking the tour, and we got done, and a gal raised her hand, and she said, Sheriff, she says, I got a problem. She said, something ain't right. And I said, well, let's clear it up. What is it? She said, well, I read online on social media. I said, oh, so there's your problem right now. You read on social media. She said, I read on social media that there were cockroaches in here big as bunnies and rats as big as dogs running all through this jail, and that we would be attacked by them. She said, I hadn't seen anything. She said, this is one of the cleanest buildings I've been in inside the city, and I just want to let you know that what they said on social media was wrong. And I said, well, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. So we do that tour anytime.
So, Leslie, you got a question?
They've been standing for almost an hour. I'm just wondering, do you do that a lot?
Yeah.
12 hours a day.
That's exactly right.
These groups are actually deceptively comfortable.
Okay, Teresa.
I remember seeing you at Plaza Civic League, so what I thought was interesting was the program for the 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
Have you mentioned that?
Did you talk about that?
No, I haven't. So a couple years ago, when our numbers got real low, we took a look at hiring 18-year-olds. And so we started to hire 18-year-olds. And so I tell this story about one 18-year-old, and I'll make up the date so everybody can follow. So the individual had an interview on Monday. Okay, so he's coming in to get interviewed for a job as a deputy sheriff on Monday. He turns 18 on Sunday. So he's 18 on Sunday and comes in Monday morning for his interview. So he comes in to his interview that morning at 8 o'clock, and he sits down, and the investigator says, sir, I need to talk to you about your drug use. The gentleman thought about it for a minute. He said, I've never used drugs as an adult. Never. The investigator comes in there and gets me, and the guy repeats it. I said, dude, you're going to be a lawyer. You are a lawyer. I looked at my watch. I said, you've been an adult all for 12 hours and never used it. Man, we're off to a good start. So we have hired some 18-year-olds and found a lot of value in it. And we understand that when you get the 18-year-olds there and you give them the right mentoring and the right training, they can be very productive, and we found that out.
So are they like a junior deputy?
No, they're full deputy sheriffs.
Full deputy, so you don't need a college degree or anything like that?
No,
And they're hiring right now.
Yep, that's right. And the thing is, they can't go buy ammo. They can't go buy ammo, but they can carry the weapon.
Wow. So they're
everything. What you see, they got. Everything you see.
They have ammo,
with bullets
right?
in it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought you had to be 21 to have a handgun.
Nope, not if you're
Not if you're a deputy.
Not if you're sworn.
Yeah. So is there extra supervision for somebody that young?
No, we take them to a field training officer program.
How long does that take?
That takes about 15 weeks depending on the individual. And they usually snap on pretty quick. And I'll tell you one thing about the 18-year-olds that we have, and I don't know how many we have now, it's kind of tapered off a little bit. when they come to us, they don't have the bad habits of the older folks. They get in a rhythm and they do a great job. So I don't know how many we have now, but it's been a great program.
Kind of like joining the military, you know, they train you from the
Yes.
get-go, right out of high school, yeah.
So I also, I'm running the recruiting program, so if you have any grandchildren that are too nice, call me. We'll talk about hiring.
Yeah, give them 6 choices.
Yeah.
You have another question? Okay, because we're almost out of time.
We're a large city, but what is the difference between, I know you're, other than constitutional officer, between the city police department and your department?
Well,
Why do you have both?
Yeah, it's our, and I was talking to somebody about that before we started. The thing in Virginia is you have county sheriffs and city sheriffs. And when you have county sheriffs, they are the primary law enforcement officer in the county, where we don't have that here. We have, our charter requires that the chief of police and the city police are the primary law enforcement officer based on our charter. And so we duplicate some services, but not much. And I think Chief Newdigate would even tell you that during our tourist season at the oceanfront, he wouldn't be able to do what he does down there without the help of deputy sheriffs. For example, last weekend, what festival am I thinking about last weekend?
Jackalope?
No.
Yeah. There were all kinds of festivals.
Yeah, we had Jackalope and we had the Reggae Festival. That Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, I had 70 deputy sheriffs working just that. Just that.
Is that all overtime?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yep. Sure is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, last question?
And Sheriff, do you have the authority to say whether this person gets arrested or booked? Like an additional sheriff has a lot of authority in who they decide to press charges against and who they don't.
No, what will happen in that situation is an individual gets arrested and they get brought before a magistrate with the probable cause for arrest warrant, and then once the magistrate issues the arrest warrant, then we get a committal card and they come to our jail. Now, if it's a situation with something else, it can be screened with the Commonwealth Attorney. My guys oftentimes go over and screen with the Commonwealth Attorney to try to get warrants at a later time. So we certainly do that. But
Yeah, we're gonna do announcements. Anybody else have a question first?
I just want to know how citizens arrest work.
Citizen, no, I guess you have to, Barbara?
How large? You have female deputies?
yeah, we do. Yeah, we have, and it's good. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
So there's a federal challenge initiative has been issued that it's called 30 by 30, and the initiative is that they have 30% of your force are female by 2030. Well, I'm proud to say that the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office is at 29% right here in 24. And so, yeah, we do.
Okay, Barbara, last question.
How large is the sheriff's department?
We have, I just passed it out.
536.
Yep,
And full
Yep.
part-time.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have about 440 sworn right now. So,
All right.
So listen, guys, I want to tell you this. I appreciate the opportunity to come in here on this beautiful Thursday night and talk to you. And if you ever have an issue, anything I can help with, please give me a call. One of the things that I've said all along is that Rocky Holcomb and the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office is a sheriff's office for all people. All citizens can count on the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office. And we are open for business and stand ready to help. Thank you guys very much.
And you just download that to my computer and I will have it.
Can we have them all four line up so?
And take a picture?
Get them on, well, I've got them live. So
You
that
want them in a
people-
lineup?
If you could introduce them up here on camera,
Yeah.
because we're live right now.
Get in closer.
So how many viewers you got, Robert? You got, how many people you got watching?
Let's see, looks like 73.
Okay,
right now.
well, to the 73 viewers, let me introduce, my name is Rocky Holcomb. I'm the Sheriff of Virginia Beach. This is Captain Karen Johnson. She is our VBSO Connect person. She's liaisons with the community. This is Captain Nick Curtis. He is our training captain and in charge of our emergency response team. And this is Chief Deputy Albie Coolandi, who's in charge of our administrative duties at the Sheriff's Office. So we are proud to be here and a sheriff for all citizens.
That's it.
Thank you.